Hello there, friends. In today's video, we have Pastor Ronkelly. Okay, he is speaking about the spirit of truth. Beautiful message indeed. This is a 12 minutes video. I'm going to play the entire thing. I'm going to stay quiet because it speaks for itself. We are highlighting this because there's a message in here for you that I want to bring to your attention as well. This is on his YouTube channel, so I'm going to make sure I link his YouTube channel in the description so that he can get the subscription, give him the viewership as well if you haven't already seen this. So also at the title of this video, there's going to be a link to Pastor Ronkelly at Ronkelly on YouTube, so you can support the man's content. I think this is a good man. I think this is a good man. Some people will disagree with me, but I will say no. He's a good man. He's not perfect. I don't think any man is without the grace of Christ. None of us. We are all men most miserable. But I'll tell you what. I will not condemn the man. When I saw what happened to him and everything like that, we've documented all of this on our channel before, so it's nothing new. I'm not gonna go through this again. I just can't, I became a fan because of what's happened. It's like what's happened has created a level of sympathy in my heart for the man. I begin to embrace his messages more than ever before. So I do have another message that I'm working on this week. I'm doing some more looking into it, where he preached a message about a couple months ago. And that was during the time of Pestilence 19, and it was based on Education 57. We've shared some clips from these messages before, but it's actually like a 5-part series of study. Powerful stuff. But in one of those videos, he pretty much prophesied. He prophesied. I use the word. I'm being careful how I use this. Pretty much his own, how do I say this? His own fate. It's almost like he clearly articulated that in the message. Like, little did he know the very thing that he preached about happened to him. So this tells me then God has a plan. God has a purpose. God already laid a conviction on the man's heart. Some say, well, the reason why this happened to him is because of insubordination. Okay, I mean, that's what we are told. But in what area? How was he in insubordination to the laws, whatever it is? I still have a lot more questions of what has he done wrong, because it seems to me, in my examination of the thing, he was trying to follow church policy. So how did an effort to follow church policy by not firing Dr. Conrad Vine is now classified as insubordination to the Michigan Conference? That is extreme confusion for me. But I'm the guy behind the camera, so I can only say so much about this matter. But nevertheless, let's take a listen to this. Let me be quiet, okay? So you need to go listen to the man and enjoy his content, and also give him the subscription. Enjoy this amazing video. Take a listen.
Hello, friends. I want to talk with you about truth and the spirit of truth. Early on in our marriage, my wife and I would have what everybody has. We still have them. Sometimes we disagree. We have an argument. When we'd get into those arguments and I was on the winning side, which of course sometimes winning is losing, my wife would retreat to a favorite family saying, and that is, we can all have our own opinions. It was her way of backing out of the argument and not being willing to accept the truth that was emerging from our disagreement. Now, since then, we've covered a lot of great ground. I'm married to the most wonderful woman in the world. We don't argue as much as we used to, which is good because we've been married for almost 40 years and we love each other deeply. But there are things I needed to learn about me and things she needed to learn about her. And as our two lives were merged together, we'd have a few friction points, moments in which something needed to change. And I'd like to suggest to you, as you're listening to this presentation, that the most challenging testing truth is the truth about me. It's the truth about you. But the spirit of truth and truth should never be separated from each other. When Jesus was confronted with a woman that was caught in adultery, he bent over and wrote in the sand, ignoring all the accusations. The truth was the woman had been caught in the very act of adultery. Kind of an unpleasant situation for sure. But the greater truth was that she had been set up. It was really a trap. So when Jesus knelt over and wrote in the dust on the pavement stones of the temple, he was writing out truths, probably, of the lives of those who had arranged this very unseeming arrangement. What I want you to understand is that the Spirit of truth will always look to share the truth in such a way that it does the least amount of damage and brings the greatest amount of healing. That's why love and truth, grace and truth can never be separated. I think about what Jesus said in John chapter 8. He said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Some people think that just a raw data dump of truth is what sets people free. That can't be. When Jesus went to the feast at Simon's house, it was the last Sabbath that he would be in the ordinary relationship with his disciples. Simon had actually led one of his nieces, who would be there pouring out perfume on Jesus' feet, into fornication and sexual immorality. Jesus knew this. It was the truth. Of course, Simon had not made an arrangement for the washing of Jesus' feet. He didn't give him a kiss. It was really a pretty unnatural and awkward moment for everybody involved. And then there's Judas, who starts a rumor at the table that this could have been sold, this perfume, and it could have got a year's worth of money for our little ragtag church. Of course, that was the truth too, wasn't it? So how do we really get to the truth? And what about the Spirit of truth? Jesus confronted Judas for the first time and said, "Leave her alone. She's done something good." Of course, he confronted Simon, the leper, and said, "When I came to your house, you gave me no kiss of greeting, and you didn't offer a way for me to wash my feet." Jesus, in that moment, was required to say some truths that would create some humility, that would actually create a readiness to listen and grow. When I think about Nicodemus, Nicodemus was afraid to admit that Jesus might be the Messiah. Came to Jesus by night. He wanted to affirm Jesus as a teacher, but Jesus, in this case, knowing whom he was talking to, was able to go much straighter to the heart. He told Nicodemus that unless you're born again, you're not going to see the kingdom. Quite a startling truth. Nicodemus was taken back at the very idea. He was thinking literally, but Jesus was talking about the greater need for the transformation of his heart, his person. In that case, Nicodemus began a journey where he was wrestling with the truth. Later on, just before that woman is caught in adultery, Nicodemus is with some of the other members of the Sanhedrin when the temple guards come back from the temple and they don't have Jesus. And they are scorned by the other members of the Sanhedrin. They said, "There's nobody learned that believes in this man." But then Nicodemus speaks up. You see, the truth has been working on him. And he said, "Does our law judge a man without first hearing him?" Then the Sanhedrin members turn on Nicodemus. And you know, folks, the storyline goes on and on. But I think of that woman in John chapter 4, the woman nobody wanted to be with. The truth was, she was a woman of ill repute. She was not very respectable. She didn't respect herself. But Jesus knew there was a chance for this woman to receive the truth because she was at one of the most broken moments of her life if the truth could be presented in a gracious way. He sent away the 12. He met her at the well, and there at the well, he asked for a drink. The truth was, there was bigotry and prejudice between the two races of Jews and Samaritans. The truth was, Jesus could have given up at that very moment and said, "Well, it's not worth it." But the truth is that he cared about her deeply, and he pressed on, saying that if she had been nicer to him and offered him a drink, he was more than glad, actually glad to give without the drink, a water that came from a spiritual source that would take care of deeper inner needs. She wanted that water. She sensed that he was different. The truth he had made him noble and kind and self-controlled and sweet. And she said, "I'd like some of that water." But then Jesus tested her with a personal testing truth. He said, "Go get your husband." Her eyes broke away from his, and she looked at the ground, fidgeting, not sure what to say. So she came up with a half-truth. She said, "I'm not married." And Jesus said, "Well, the whole truth is, not only are you not married, but you've been married 5 times and now you're in a live-in relationship." But the way he did it was so kind, and it was so gentle, and yet it was still so true that she wanted to keep talking. Then she decided, "Enough about me, let's talk about where we worship." Jesus said, "Look, the hour's coming when nobody's going to be worshiping on the mountain here or the mountain in Jerusalem. But those who worship me must worship in spirit and in truth." You see, the spirit of truth can be resurrected in people's lives, especially when those who possess the truth have a beauty and a nobility of carefulness with the truth. Now, there are times when the truth has to be straight on, straight up. And there are moments in the gospel, I think especially of John chapter 8, and also in John 10:10, where Jesus says some of the most straight, powerful, and cutting words to the Pharisees, the leaders of the church. You see, friends, without a spirit of truth, we will not come to know the truth. And even if we hold a form of the truth, if we don't love the truth, we'll eventually love a lie instead. This is what Paul writes in the book of Thessalonians. So here we are in the 21st century, a postmodern age. Everybody's supposed to have their own truth. Well, the truth of the matter is that Jesus is a patient and wise purveyor of truth. Jesus is only a man of truth. He rebukes Peter many times in their 3.5-year sojourn together in ministerial training, and he doesn't rebuke Judas even once until the very end. Friends, I want to ask you something. Are you honest with yourself? Can you grow? Are there truths about you that if you were willing to wrestle with, you would be seen with more credibility and more respectability by other people? I know as a leader, I'm looking for people who are honest and truthful to sit on my boards, people to work close with me that can admit things about themselves, that know how to say they're sorry, people that will change their minds. I actually believe that when you get a group of people together that are committed to the truth, the group can be led by the Spirit. Even if the leaders bring an idea and it's a good one, it may be that the idea changes, and it may be that the idea is affirmed. But the Spirit of truth allows Jesus and the Holy Spirit, whom he said he would send, to be the Spirit of truth. Both in John 15 and 16, Jesus refers to the Holy Spirit as the Spirit of truth. Friends, we need our lives infused, filled, tinctured with the Spirit of truth. Then we grow. And when we grow, we become fruitful and attractive. Imagine if a whole church was doing this, or a whole fellowship. What would happen is that the truth would become attractive. Of course, Jesus told his disciples and some of his listeners, I have things to tell you that you're not ready to receive yet. Let that be a lesson to us as well. Sometimes the truth needs to wait just a little bit. What's good for a plant as it's springing up out of the ground may not be good for the plant when it's much more mature and getting ready to produce its seed, its fruit. You see, friends, there's a time even to prune a plant, but all of those things need to happen at just the right time. So I want to encourage you as you're thinking about this, remember how much you're loved. The greatest truth in the world is that the most inestimable value has been placed upon you by the blood of Jesus Christ being shed for you. You have a bright future. You get to grow throughout all eternity. You're not supposed to be like the person down the street or the person down the pew or the person sitting at the other end of the table. When you know how much you're loved, you can receive the truth. And you need to remember this is true for all those people you'd like to introduce to the truth. There's something about love that opens the spirit in the heart of a man or a woman to receive the truth. That's why Christ's method alone is the only method that works. He ministered, he mingled, he won their confidence. They looked up to him and respected him because the truth he possessed and the truth that he was a truth that stood for itself, that presented itself in the most attractive ways. You know, written in the front of my Bible, I have some very amazing quotes. This one from Gospel Workers, page 92, says, everything noble and everything generous in a man will respond to the contemplation of Christ upon the cross. You know, when we carry that cross, when we die to self, when the Spirit of truth can, with love and grace, take away the tumors, the warts, the blemishes that make our presentation of the gospel not so attractive, pretty soon the people will be saying, I want what you want. I want the beauty I see in you. Because Jesus did say, taste and see that the Lord is good. And of course, we know the Lord is the way, the truth, and the light. I want to encourage you as you're listening to this. Remember how much you're loved. Have a real walk with Christ. Let the people closest to you be part of the purveying and the conveying of that truth. And keep on growing in Jesus. And of course, be careful how you use the truth, because the truth can be used as a bludgeon. You can club people with the truth. The truth as it is in Jesus is kind, gentle, wise, timely, and, of course, principled. May God bless you as you reflect on the truth in your life. Of course, there's only so much difficult truth that a person can receive at one time. Remember, do unto others as you'd have done unto you, and then you'll know how to use the truth wisely. And of course, it's better sometimes to wait for people to want to know before you want to tell them. May God bless you all. May the spirit of truth abound in our lives, in our churches, and in our homes. We will grow. We will get closer to each other. We will be more fruitful. We will experience more freedom. And the truth will have all the beauty it's supposed to have when it's combined with the spirit of truth. God bless you all. Thank you for listening. And I hope every day a little bit more truth shines into your life and out of your life. God be with you all.